Everybody, rather than just screw around, I'm going to get right into it for those of you that are with me from the start. We're going to talk about the SPY. Why? Because yesterday I was looking for support on the SPY at 410.50, which were the previous day's support. I mentioned yesterday that we were likely to see what we saw on Wednesday. Wednesday's high on the SPY, 415. Wednesday's low on the SPY, 409 and change. That's what I was looking for yesterday, and I got fooled. Remember, I am a bear. So why am I so frustrated? Because I've been buying puts on every spike in the market and making money for a week straight. Then on Wednesday, I flipped my strategy and I was like, okay, I'm finding support on the SPY at 410. I'm going to go into some calls. I made some decent money on those. I think I made like 77%. And I was like, okay, if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it. So wait for the same thing on Thursday and do the same thing. Remember, I've been a bear this whole time. That's why I'm so frustrated, because for me to lock into some SPY calls and take a loss yesterday was extremely, extremely upsetting. So we're going to talk about the SPY ranges. We're going to get right into it before I talk about everything else. Why? Because the major support level on the SPY was broken at $410. When we jumped under 410, you knew 407 was coming. So that's when I had to exit out of my position and take a loss, which was rare for me because it was 7 straight trading days where I had winning trades. Let's remember, earlier in the week, I said Intel, I was looking for Intel to go to the $26, $27 range. Well, it finally made its way to $27.50 yesterday, and I sold the day before. What else did I mention? I mentioned a firm wasn't done selling off. A firm who came in with shitty ass earnings and terrible guidance and cutting their staff. It dropped what? 20%, something to that extent, 17%, another 3% today. You have Blink, who did their offering. Remember, Blink was above $12 a share, and I said their offerings at $12 a share. Would not surprise me if it goes down to $11 a share. Well, shit, it hit $10.75 yesterday. Pinterest, when they came out with earnings 4 or 5 days ago, I mentioned earnings were shitty. After hours, Pinterest was down 10%. Then the next day, it was only down 1% pre-market, and I said it is owed 10%. So the first day, it dropped 5%. Then it dropped 3%. Then yesterday, you dropped 4%. So if you add all this together, you're off 12%. This morning, it's probably down pre-market between 1% and 2%. So now you're closer to 14%. So this is how I sometimes play earnings. After I see the earnings and see where the stock is likely to go, and then it gets casually inflated by Elliott Management. I mentioned them. All right, so let's get into the SPY. You had major support at 410.50, and then what happened? It dropped down. So the next major support is 404 and change. I think we're sitting right around there pre-market. Let me just see where the SPY is. Pre-market, we're at 405.19. So no better time to pull up Discord. If you want to be a member of our Discord, you could just use the link below. So what am I pulling up on Discord? I'm sure someone did it for me, or I was hoping someone did it for me. I want to look at the dark pool levels of the SPY. So TRDP levels and SPY. Why? Because you're going to see those major support levels and rejection levels that I spoke about. So let me make sure it's on here. Everybody can view it with me. Okay, so we spoke about 416.83. It went down now. You're looking at the dark pool level, 12 billion, 413, again, 16 billion, 410.71, 19 billion. I was expecting this to act as support yesterday. Under that, we see 2 smaller levels, and then we're all the way down to 401.63. So what am I going to tell you? I'm going to tell you at some point today, the SPY is going to hit $401.63 because it's right there in the dark pool level. So even if there's a ton of selling, you're seeing a huge dark pool where it should find support at 401.63. Remember, plus or minus 20 or 30 cents. But it still tells me that we're going down to the 401 and change range. The fact that we're sitting close at 407, if we were to go to 401, you're talking about 1.5% off the SPY or the SPX this morning. Understand what happened to China last night. China overnight down 2%. They want their balloon back. That shit ain't happening. That's not why the Chinese market dropped. The Chinese market dropped because they're struggling. The economy is extremely tough in China. So let me get back to my news, which will help us lead in. Okay, Jay Powell next week. What do we have? On Wednesday the 14th, we have CPI information, Consumer Price Index. What do we have on Friday of next week? Again, Wednesday, and then you have Friday the 16th. We have PPI. So this is going to tell you a hell of a lot about inflation. And if inflation seems to reverse course, remember, we're in like sort of a bell curve. If we tend to reverse and pricing actually goes up, what is that going to do? Push downward pressure on the market. So I'm going to get back to the SPY ranges in a little bit. I'm just going to talk about a couple more things, and then we'll see what we're going to happen today. Hang Seng, again, it was off 2% overnight. It was actually a little lower at one point, but 2% is where it finished. So what do I expect? I expect our markets to drop 2% today. So if our markets drop 2% today, that would put the SPY right at the 400 level. Again, major support at 401. I'll bring up the chart again. UK economy, they were predicting month over month shrinkage in the UK economy of 0.3%. What did they see? 0.5%. So, okay, the UK economy is shrinking a little faster than thought. The Chinese economy is struggling. There are other things in Europe. Okay, South Africa declares a disaster over an energy crisis, meaning energy pricing likely to go up. When I checked after reading that story, oil was at $77 a barrel. I think it popped all the way to $79 a barrel. So you can see that popped overnight. That's what you're seeing as far as oil goes. So oil will probably find some support right at this level. Even if the market drops, I expect oil to kind of hang on and do its thing. Let's just see what else we got going on. Hang Seng, I mentioned UK oil. Okay, here's what caught me off guard again yesterday. Over $1 billion reported on the SPY, dark pool levels at 410.67. So again, those same people that were supporting the SPY right at the 410 level, I believe flipped. I believe they sold their position. So that's kind of why I believe the market dropped the way it did. Again, you're not going to find support on the market after a drop like yesterday. It's more or less going to be a chop. I'm going to talk about the specific ranges. We can get into calls or puts. Again, I'm a bear. I don't know how I got tricked into being a bull for 2 days. God, I hate changing my strategy and then it reverses on me. Oh, and then the final thing is Elon must be tripping as love put. Here are the new Twitter rules that are being rumored. 200 DMs limit per day, 20 tweets limit per day, including retweets, quotes, and replies, 4 photos or 1 video per day. Those are going to be the limits unless you're Twitter blue. So Elon's looking for everybody to pay up to use their Twitter account. Now, there were several puts on the SPY yesterday, including a $30 million put towards the end of close that happened right around 3:45 p.m., which made me think we were going to drop overnight. We've got CPI, I already mentioned, on Wednesday and Friday of next week. We can mention Carl Icahn. I spoke about this yesterday. It just happened 2 days ago, but he took $5 billion worth of SPX puts at the 405 range. So the fact that we were sitting at 410 when he made the trade, or 411 when he made the trade, and we closed at 407, but we touched 405, and now this morning we're at 405 again. Pre-market, not a surprise. So again, let's talk about the levels of support and resistance we can find. I'm going to pull up Discord. I'm going to keep this really focused today because, again, yesterday I should have known when we lost support at the 410 level, it was going to drop. It took me a whole point and a half before I sold my losing position. Again, the first losing trade I made in literally 7 trading days. I was very upset at myself because I was a bear and I locked myself into a bullish position. But again, we can speak about the levels that we're at. Okay, so under 401.63, just so you see, it's a ghost zone, meaning if we were to break 401 going down, and I've heard a lot of people talk today that 399 will be in the books today. Me, I'm not quite believing it yet. I do think we'll see support right at the 401 level 63. The next level higher, 404, which used to be 40, 404.65 now. So again, plus or minus 20 cents. That's what we're looking at this morning upon the open, okay? So it's going to be the 404.65. The fact that we're sitting at 405.23, the next level of support is about 60 cents under. So it can act as support, or if we quickly break through, and if you look at the chart from yesterday, and let me try and bring up the chart from yesterday just to show everybody. Stop sharing screen, present, share screen, and let's get down to it. Where's the SPY? Here we go. Make sure that it's shared. Let's add it to the stream. Okay, perfect. So what do I have on here? I've got the SPY from yesterday. I've got a 5-minute chart. Now what you can see is we opened right at the 415 level. We dropped. We showed a little support right around 10:50, 11 a.m. And then we saw a nice drop, a full point on the SPY. Again, I was saying that a drop was coming at 411.75. And what do? We dropped a whole dollar to 410. What was it? 410.75 right here. And then we just continued to drop. Volume started picking up around 1 o'clock and was pretty consistent through the close. Through the close, we sort of had some support right here at the 405 level. We bounced pretty quickly up back up to the 407 level. Understand that we're starting at the 405 level again. So I kind of discount the last 10 minutes of trading yesterday. I say the market is where it wanted to be. It wanted to be right at the 405 level. So again, if we're looking at support levels on the SPY, I'm going to use the dark pool levels. And I'm going to tell you one more time, under 401.63, there's like a void, a black hole. Meaning, if we break that 401 level going down, we could see a pretty drastic drop in the SPY, in the S&P 500. That's where Carl Icahn is positioned with $5 billion worth of puts, purchased around the 410 level. Now we're at 405. He's crushing it. He's probably looking to crush it more. Why? Because we have CPI on Wednesday next week, which is the 14th. And on the 16th, we have PPI numbers. There's no doubt we'll have Fed speakers throughout the week. So the market kind of flipped. We passed the 200-day moving average to the upside, the 50-day moving average to the upside. I mentioned a possible reversal. Well, it's there. It's there. We saw on, what was it? Meta, huge dark pull order at 188. Well, now that we're like, 7, 8, 9 points lower than that, it makes sense. The people that sold on the dark pull saved 3.5, 4%. Makes sense. Again, where am I looking for support? 401.63 on the SPY. Next level higher, again, it's a $15 billion level at 404.65. The fact that we're starting today a little above that tells me, bull case scenario, we can run back up from the 405 level where we're sitting pre-market, and we can hit 408, 408.50. If we hit that, I expect rejection. If we go up to 408 today, I expect it to be extremely quick, probably within the first 30 minutes of open. So if we see the market getting bought up and they're buying the dips up, then we can see, okay, the SPY, the S&P, it can run up to 408. Then what's going to happen? It's likely to reject. It's likely to reject that level and head back down right where we are now, the 404 level. And if you want to take the bear case scenario out, bear case scenarios, we're not done going down. We're going to test that 401 level, 401.63, and we're going to see if we bounce off that. If we bounce off 401.63, it's likely we're going to go back up to the 405 level. So I expect us to be trading somewhere between 401.50 and maybe 406 all day today. If we do spike up to 408, I think it'll be momentary, meaning we're not going to hang out there very long. If we spike up, it's going to be just as quick as a drop. So again, I'm looking for the markets to trade between 405 and change and 401 on change, narrower range heading into next week. CPI, PPI, what's happening if we continue to drop? If we continue to drop, you're seeing a ghost zone. So if we pass that 401 level to the downside, you could be looking at 399, 398 before we see another bounce. And again, the volume at those levels is extremely light. Got a couple questions today. Let's get to it. Google. Let's remember yesterday, and we did a short video on that. Jim Cramer said Google buying opportunity after it dropped 7%. What was it? 2 days ago off their chat GPT bot not working or not giving the correct answer. Google yesterday. Let's just see what happened to Google yesterday. I think it dropped, 3.5%. That would kind of make sense. That would be my guess. And I'm going to talk about some individual stocks. All right, Google, where are we? Google, 4.5% yesterday. So it's up 0.5% pre-market. Will it bounce? God, that's so hard to see. Outflow has been pretty massive. Volume's been pretty massive since the terrible earnings, which we saw last week. Remember, after earnings came out, they were buying Apple, Google, Amazon. Earnings sucked. Forecasting sucked. They were still buying that. So, can we talk about the dark pool level? So there are a couple of you that are interested. So again, let me just remove this shop sharing screen. Let me share Discord, and we'll pull up the dark pool levels for Google, and we can see where we are. So let's pull that up. Boom, Discord. Let's add it to the stream. Okay, add to stream. There we go. Okay, perfect. So let me go back. Let's go on here. Let's type in TRDP levels, and we'll check out Google. All right, so here we go. Google is trading pre-market at 96, almost flat, 96.06. So where are we looking? 96.46, okay? That's your closest dark pool level. It's a little above where we are. If you're looking, it's still under $1 billion worth. So the true dark pool level was $99.88. So even if Google pushes higher, and again, it's up 0.5% pre-market, I would look for a major rejection at 99.88, just under 100. But if we do not even get there at 98.18, again, a pretty large level of 1.15. So that would be 98.18. So if I'm looking at Google, I'm thinking it's going to go down and follow big tech and going down for the next, let's just say week. Okay. Let's just assume it's going to be a week. I'm looking to get into Google puts right at the $98 level, 98.18. The next level down, 96.46. The fact that we're sitting at 96 pre-market, I would look to see if 96.46 acts as rejection. Now understand, Google's going to follow the rest of the market. So the same way that I'm talking about, if the SPY, if the SPX goes up back to the 408 level, right, or 408.50 level, and I expect rejection there, then you're looking at the next level down. And again, when we looked at that, and I could add it on here one more time just because I brought up Discord one more time, I'll go back up to the Qs. Here we go. The SPY level, bring it up. Boom. 401.63. Next level higher, 404.65. Next level higher, very smaller at 13 billion. You're talking about 407.68. So if we are going to pop up, I don't think we're going to make 410. I think we'd probably hit the range of maybe 407.68, maybe all the way to 408 before it rejects. When it does reject, again, smaller levels, I expect the SPY to be dropping back down to the 401.63 level, where it will probably hold because there's major support there. Let's just see what else we got. Can Google turn it around? Okay, here's a question. And somebody asked me this morning on Discord and said, hey, Tesla kind of filled the gap last night. After hours, it went down to 200. It's back at 202. Is that showing crazy support for Tesla? Should Tesla go higher? Should Tesla go lower? Here's the catch. Tesla's been ripping now for, I think, 2.5, no, probably 3 weeks now, going higher from 108 all the way past what? It went up to 207 yesterday, 208. I wonder where Tesla actually hit the high yesterday. Let's just bring it up real quick. I've got it at the top of my chart because I was so very impressed. 214 yesterday. But yesterday was the first outflow day we've seen in a week. Now, the last time you saw an outflow day was about 8 trading days ago, right after they had earnings. A couple of days after, you see a bit of a decline. Even with the outflow yesterday, Tesla went higher by 3% or $6 a share. So it's telling me Tesla is on the verge, on the teeter of dropping. If the markets drop, and if you see the SPY hit 401, where's Tesla going to be? It's going to be at the 194 level. In fact, if I wanted to look up the dark pool on Tesla, I would go back to Discord. I mean, there are so many things you can use. So let's just see Tesla TR, right, DP levels, and let's look at Tesla together. And here we go. Dark pool level for Tesla, okay? We've got 209.18. Well, we rejected 214. We're under that this morning. The next level of support could technically be right under the 200 level. So that's a psychological level for Tesla. We're sitting at 204. So in my opinion, what would be likely to happen? Well, shit, if the SPY drops to the 401 level, Tesla's going back down to the 199 level, even though they keep buying it day in, day out, day in, day out for 3 straight weeks. Yes, things don't only go up. Stocks don't only go up or down. There's usually some bit of choppiness. So I actually expect Tesla to start rejecting at these levels. Again, their forward PE on Tesla, I mentioned the other day when it was under 30, it's a buy. It's back up to 52. Remember, when it was 78 and Tesla was trading at $300 and change, I said Tesla could likely drop half of its value, 50%. People called me nuts. People said that was the worst video they've ever seen. Well, Tesla went from $320 to $108. It dropped 60%. Yes, it has since rebounded, but all you need is to be correct about your strategy. Google can turn back around. I don't really know. Thinking about Meta, again, I mentioned Meta the other day, huge dark pool level. I probably only mentioned this on Discord. Meta was trading at the 188 range. Let's just see where Meta is right now. META. Meta 177.92 is probably down pre-market, so we're 176. So if I wanted to check out the chart for Meta, what would I do? I'd go to Discord and I would say thoughts on puts. Yeah, I know some people that got in puts at the 185 level and they're holding it thinking Meta is going to 165 by the end of next week. So again, with PPI on next Friday, CPI next Wednesday, bearish sentiment flipping in the market. We've seen kind of a reversal. 410, which was support on the SPY, turned into rejection. So I really want to pay attention to the 404.50 level. We're slightly above that. If we drop down, the real level to pay attention to is 401.63. If 401.63 acts as support, it'll act as support for these other stocks: Tesla, Meta, Apple, Google, Amazon. If we break down and we lose the 401.63 level of support, and understand that's still almost 0.75% lower than where we are right now. If we lose that level, then you're going to see stocks like Meta come down. You're going to see Apple, which I told you, Apple still has crazy support at the 151 level, but I expected Apple to be in the 136, 137 level. So yes, if tech gives up on the market, you're going to see Amazon, Google, Apple, even Tesla drop significantly. So when we spoke about Tesla levels, we were talking about 199 as a key level. If it breaks the 199 level, I think you're going down a whole, 10 points to 190 flat, where the next level of support should be. So again, what could Tesla do in a shitty market day? The fact that it's being bought up so quickly, I could easily see Tesla dropping to the 190 level. I understand it's completely counter to what people are believing in. But again, if it's not broke, you don't fix it. So if people have been going Tesla calls for 3 weeks straight and pocketing massive amounts of profit, why would they change their thought process just because one guy here says, look at the dark pool level? No, they have to be proven wrong. So if they have a losing trade and Tesla actually makes it down to the 200 level and then goes to 199, then they might say, okay, I might not buy the dip anymore. People were doing the same thing with coin, right? Coinbase, it was at $53. It shot all the way up to $81. Day after day, week after week, coin was going up a ridiculous percent. What happened yesterday? Well, it finally gave back 14%. Let's see where coin is this morning, because coin can drop. If Meta can drop and Amazon can drop, coin can have a pretty significant effect. And coin's back at $58, $59. Okay, understand it was at $81. So from $81 or $82 to $59, you're talking about $23. You're talking about how it lost, 20% of its value in 5 days. Okay, yeah, here it is. Last week for Coinbase, down 16 points, down 21.61%. So again, that's what kind of drop I'm looking at. What are the bid and ask so far away? Okay, so here we go. SCO options. Why the heck are the ask and bid so far away? So let me just see. I thought SCO. So let's see. SCO, pro shares, crude oil. Why? It's just always been that way. When you look at ETFs, you'll see it on the XLE as well. You'll see it on the industrial ETFs, XLI. Bids and the bid and the spread between the bid and the ask are going to be wide until about 10:30 a.m. 10:30 a.m. when the market settles, then the spreads tend to narrow. The spreads are wider because, as I tell you, every morning we see crazy volatility. Remember, yesterday morning I said, here's what we're likely to see at open. Spike, dip, spike, dip. And if you look at yesterday's open, it was a spike, a dip, a spike back up, a dip before the market finally made its mind up, which takes, sometimes half an hour or 40 minutes into the day. So you don't see the spreads narrow until after 10 a.m., usually closer to 10:30. I say about 10:20. So that's when I start looking at options. I've got some West Coast people on Discord. And what I tell them is, don't have the FOMO, though. If you're on the West Coast, there's no reason that you have to wake up at 6:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. if you want to watch this video. The point is, I say to him, hey, man, wake up at your normal time, 8 a.m. West Coast time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can still get the best values. If the stocks are going higher, usually you don't see the top until about 11:50 a.m. If stocks are on its way down, usually you'll see a double dip and you can recognize the pattern and you know to yourself whether the stocks are going to continue to fade in the afternoon or if we're going to see a rebound. And lastly, hey, man, best advice anybody ever gave anybody, smash that like button. If you like what you see, again, join me on Monday morning. Follow us on Discord. Oh, Romeo, I'm going to lead him in today. Romeo's live trading at 9:15. So if you're on our Discord and you're actually trading in the morning, there's no reason to miss any of Romeo's lessons. He gives you lessons. He gives you entry. He tells you what he's scaling in and scaling out. He's one of the quickest studies that I've seen in a number of years. Dude picked up trading a couple of years ago, lost money in the first 6 months. Then the light bulb moment went out, and then he kept educating himself. And now, as part of our platform, as a partner, he's educating newer traders, more rookie traders. If you're having mistakes and losing money, you just have to watch Romeo. He's going to explain what he's looking for, and it rubs off. You're like, I could do that myself. Yeah, we all could do that ourselves. You don't need to be handheld, but you need to be shown the way or taught how to fish. And that's what we're here for. So please follow us to Discord. I appreciate everybody with me this morning. Smash that like if you hadn't smashed it yet. And join me again on Monday. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. And again, next week, CPI Wednesday.